Thank you for joining me. And I'm Harish. I'm a founder and growth specialist here at CrawlQ.ai. You can explain a little bit from your side where you found me or the CrawlQ.ai and what you're looking from this demo before I jump into details.
Thank you for the introduction. Obviously, using Facebook groups with the LTDs and that in mind, and obviously AI is a very, very hot topic at the minute for creating copy, things like that. I've got nicheness already. I think it was a Facebook group that led me to the AppSumo because I use AppSumo quite frequently. So I went and had a look at you in the marketplace. To be quite honest, I was looking and I was trying to work out exactly what this platform does. I think I have an indication of what it does. Is that it can crawl your website and then make various suggestions to you, get your website running correctly with copy, SEO, and management and things like that. But I want to get a better insight into it.
Okay, so I think let's jump into details here. So the CrawlQ.ai is obviously kind of content automation tool. You rightly said there are so many tools in the market, and where is seems hype. Same time, you have to be careful with having a good understanding of a specific framework, right? If you work on a specific framework, and if you have the right sort of steps that you wanted to follow, then I think automation can really work out. And that's the goal of this tool, because any kind of AI is garbage in, garbage out. Do you agree?
Yeah.
Right. So in order to make sure that we are not putting garbage into it, we need to work within a specific set of flow and collect a specific set of information to make sure that all the inputs that we do into sort of any kind of automation are user validated, are very specific to our target audience, what we are looking for. So once you buy a code from AppSumo, obviously you can redeem it here and you are sent login details through email. And once you have those login details, you can join the tool, or you will come to this interface of the tool. So let me start first explaining on a very high level. On a high level, CrawlQ has 5 fundamental pillars, and it starts with market research, then to the competitor differentiation. So trying to make a competitor strategy and how you're gonna to be different from your competitors. Then you have the topic structures. So once you know like who are your target audience, like what are their pain points, dreams, desires, suspicions, you really understand them much in a way where you really have their details, like their semantics, psychographics, their emotions. Like you need to really understand well, right, who are your target audience before even start writing any piece of content. That's the fundamental principle here. That's the fundamental starting point, that you really deep dive into the pain points, the problem that you're solving for your target audience. And it's a two-way, right? You have an understanding of your target audience, but also target audience are searching for your solution in a specific way. It's not always necessary you have to find this search intent on the Google or on other search engines or social media. But you can also talk to your target audience directly and try to understand how they would be looking for your solutions and services. So it's a two-way understanding. You understand in a specific way what are the pain points of your target audience, and you also have a good idea like how your target audience are looking for you. So this is here we have sort of two-way things. And once you have this kind of brainstorming or in-depth understanding, you can start filling an information vector here. And this information vector is in very specific way. It's your business strategy, it's your content strategy. You are deep diving here. Who is your target audience? Who is your market niche? And you are defining the niche. What are the current environments and trends impacting this niche? What's promise you're making to this niche? What are different activities and unique and useful insights that you're sharing with your services, with your solutions, so on and so forth. So we really deep dive into this information factory. You can call it like different pillars of that factory, and you start filling the information. So here you start like you define your niche. you can also go with a lot of education material here, like why this is really important for me to understand this, right? And here you can work with the pre-filled example as well. So in this case, B2B SaaS founders are my target audience, and I'm zooming into a bit more into B2B tech SaaS founders, and within the tech SaaS founders, I'm really optimizing my content for B2B sales and marketing SaaS founders. And then within that, I'm working on a vertical SaaS technology software development. I have ideal prospect view that Fred is my ideal buyer persona who is married, 37-year-old tech founder. So this is how you start building kind of information factory. And you have a lot of elements here, the semantics, the main topic of interest for your target audience, long tail topics. Again, you can work within pre-existing example, or you can sort of be guided by the text or information that is written here to help you out. The important part that I want to really touch here is the demographics, psychographics, the emotional hook with your target audience, with a product or your services. When I talk about psychographics, I'm talking about what is the single big emotional payoff for your target audience? What is single big desire for your target audience? What is the single big problem that you're solving? So all this information that we are filling here in this big information factory is helping us further to create our content automation, to automate our content.
So at that point, when you're filling all that in, you have done in-depth research to answer those points and those questions, because
Indeed.
because this is where you come back to garbage in, garbage out. If you have
Indeed.
good specifics in, then you'll get a good result out. I think that's where you're going with this.
Indeed. And to help you to understand and fill this information in depth way and having a good research, these are helping tools here. So when you go to, so for example, Market Spying Wizard, you have a specific topic in mind. So start from top down. If I have topic in mind, let's say blockchain, I'm writing on cryptocurrencies, the blockchain, and its topics around it. So let me start with a specific topic and narrow it down. Then I'm going to understand who are my target audience, what are their specific pain points, dreams, desires, and it's kind of a structure which is built on the top of the search layer. So here I'm discovering what are the related trending topics, and from the top, I can narrow it down to the specific topic that I need. So I can go to blockchain stock, blockchain technology, blockchain wallet, blockchain companies, blockchain definition. It depends, like what is my exact content goal. And this is like brainstorming tool here. This is kind of research tool here. So I can zoom into it. I can click one of these topic. Again, I get the new search here. These are all clickable here. So I start from a broad definition. I go, what is the trending topics in the search? I click on this, and then I come to this specific structure. So here I can say blockchain ideas, blockchain FAQs, benefits, desires, top blockchain tools, website, blockchain mistakes, questions. You can click here and then you will be redirected to search. But here whole idea is that you are going to have a very deep understanding of about your topic. And this is the research part that will help you to fill the whole information factory that we have there.
What's driving those responses, and where are the responses coming from? So what's driving that response? What software are you using to drive that?
Basically, here at this point, we are only doing research, and we are doing a framework. So once you click, we are directing you to the search Google, right? We are not here at this point trying any fancy stuff or any AI here. Here we are just building the understanding. These trending topics, they're coming from the different APIs of the Google. And once we have the seed keyword, we are also generating with our own NLP algorithms that we have trained. So yes, the seed keyword, you collect from the API the connected topics around it. Then based on the trend model, you create more umbrella of the topics around it. And you can start from the top and you can go into the deep down.
Right.
But here, this is, you asked me before question that, hey, this is a lot of information, but how do I do the research? So I'm explaining here, yeah, you have a research assistant here, which let you really understand like how to do this research and in a specific way, because here you need to really understand the information in your target audience, like what's dreams, desires. This gives you like a framework. You're not starting from scratch. You have some framework. You can go to here podcasts and directories. You can go to social media search, Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, LinkedIn. You can perform video searches on YouTube, Google videos, news stories site like Medium, Bing, Yahoo. You can go to Quora, WikiHow, reference those questions and information databases. You can go grab some of these items from the ClickBank or audiobooks. You can also go to Product Hunt or zine articles. The whole idea here is you have some reference and a starting point to deep dive into the topic of interest that you are having a target in mind for your target audience. And you are not only understanding this subject into depth, but also you are understanding this subject relative to your niche,
Yeah.
relative to your target audience and their pain points. So that's the core of this. And this is one way of understanding, but also you can ask me a question, hey, but how do I know what these people are searching for, or what they are looking in the search engine, or what kind of questions they are asking when are they going to conferences. So here again, we try to create in a question format what are different questions that these people are asking.
So this is like Phrase and Market Muse and some of those, and SEM, those tools that bring back Google sort of like questions that are being asked.
Indeed,
Yeah.
indeed. So you have some sort of interactive way where you can explore again what are the different related trending topics on blockchain. It's a really research tool, so you can go into different what, why, can. For example, if I click here, then you can say, hey, can blockchain be hacked? Can blockchain revolutionize where blockchain can be used? Can blockchain strengthen the Internet of Things? So you see, this is the way you can explore the whole database, different questions that you think are very, very important and very, very relevant that
Yeah.
your target audience might be asking.
It doesn't tell you there what the search volumes is on any of those questions and that. It doesn't.
No, because see, again, the approach here we are following is really towards our ideal buyer persona, towards the target audience, and not necessarily you're taking a traditional SEO approach where you are saying, okay, what is the search volume, what is the like competitor difficulty. Here we are building our understanding of the
Yeah.
pain points of our users and what exactly they are asking. So we are doing this two-way information and trying to research, brainstorm, and then putting all this information into this information factory. This is the starting point. This is our market research. Once we have the understanding the market, what kind of market we are operating, what kind of content goal we have, what kind of questions our target audience are asking, we have structured all our information. The information is vast and in depth. You not necessary that you have to fill all the aspects of the information. You can keep on adding the information there because this information will be used and a structured input to have the prompt engineering. So in the language of GPT-3 or OpenAI or any kind of algorithm, you need a specific set of domain knowledge or these prompts that you carefully create. And this will help us to knit together and engineer this prompt to get a good response from these.
Okay. Let me ask you a question. Just going back to the market research there and that last stage that you were at where you pulled up the questions that were being asked. What way do you have to then isolate some of those questions that you think might be relevant to your niche? Is it a mental note that you're taking when you're drilling down? Are you trying to take this all on mentally? Or are you able to click on some of those deep dive questions and then have them filter through to the competitors' differentiation, the next stage that you move to? I'm just trying to see how you've got a lot of information there.
Yeah.
How you're going to pull that information, how you're going to select parts of that information, because you're not going to take all of it because it's going to be too much. It's going to be overwhelming.
Definitely.
Yeah.
It's a great question. And what I'm trying to again emphasize here that in the starting point, we want to have a human supervision. We want to have a mental map. We want to have a human filter which really is very specific, like what
Right.
is the exact, my target market, what are their pain points, and how can I narrow down to a specific set of questions that I wanted to start my project.
Right. You're taking that on mentally when you start doing that research. Then this is what I'm just trying to find out with the tool.
Indeed,
Yeah.
because any kind of guessing game here will spoil our next steps. We
Yeah.
don't want to
Okay.
do that at this stage. We
Yeah.
don't want to start feeding with AI and data, because this is the fundamental thing.
Yeah.
If we start too much leeway, we give too much leeway to AI or any kind of tool, we are not going to get that exact human involvement.
I'm just thinking from a perspective of I'm looking at that screen now and there's lots of questions coming up.
Yeah.
Now I'm going through this stage now of trying to isolate in my mind what I think is going to be relevant to the niche that I'm going after.
Yeah.
So, you may have 30, 40 questions there. I'm not going to be able to retain all those 30, 40 questions, and I don't think you'd want me to. So maybe I'm looking at 3 questions there that I'm thinking is relevant to my niche. How do I make a note of bringing those questions through to the next step? Or is it that I'm just sitting there drilling down into those questions and then trying to retain mentally what I think is appropriate or not?
Well, of course, you can take some notes here. You can take mental notes. You can also explore more into different comparisons. You can further narrow it down. So with a specific comparisons between two different three questions, this all like you're trying to narrow it down, and you're also trying to understand, hey, am I creating my content for the top of the information, like for the top of the funnel? So then I'm focusing on how does blockchain work, how
Yeah.
do I use blockchain. If I'm doing sort of bottom of the funnel or middle of the funnel content, then I'm more focusing on these keywords like best blockchain, affordable blockchain, how much blockchain cost. If I'm doing commercial intent, then I will have sort of things like review. So it's a mental framework, and the whole intention here is not to lose the control.
Yeah.
Have a very specific target in your mind. What are your target audience, what are their pains, sort of problems, desires, and how I'm going to narrow down on this specific set of choices I have for my content goal. And this very fundamental aspect that we don't want to sort of give away to AI, because that's where the things will start going wrong.
Yeah.
From the very beginning, we are very specific, and of course there could be some more information here which will help you to narrow it down. You're not like fourth grader where you are just have no idea what you are trying to write, yet you have some specific knowledge, you have some starting points, and this is giving you a good mental framework to stick to a specific path that you're going to take. So I think that was the fundamental part which really explains like how human control should be there in the beginning,
Yeah.
where we start doing more automations around it. So I jump into the next step. There are 3 sub features here. Competitor analysis is more like top of the analysis, understanding keywords, sentiments, and let's again start with the main topic.
Yeah. Are you the developer of this? I take it. Yeah.
I'm domain expert. I have designed this whole framework, applied it to several clients. So I have created a framework. I have also product development background, so I can guide the developers exactly where and how to design the flows. Of course, I can code and program as well, but my specialization is more in the product development.
Okay.
So when I start with, let's say, blockchain, I could find the competitors, different competitors. Here, I'm trying to understand what kind of topics they're targeting on this readability aspect, readability time, reading age, summary of these pages, kind of traffics and technology that these competitors are using. I can also search directly, but the main goal here is to really understand, like if I'm dealing with this topic, I know my target audience, I know their pain points, I also have some idea like what questions they're asking, but now I'm drilling down into different competitors and trying to understand like how these people are dealing with the same topic that I'm going to deal, and what is their like main these topics that are also being picked up by search engines. That was whole idea here. You can also do this by URL to URL. So if you have a specific, let's say I have one specific URL and I want to compare it with another set of URL, something here.
So these URLs could be your known competitors.
Your known competitors,
yeah.
or your page versus their page,
Yeah, exactly.
or
Yeah.
like one page with the other page of your
Yeah.
competitor.
Okay.
So that's the idea here. Like you have product to product, you have URL to URL, or a specific landing page to landing page, or a blog to blog. So here we compared with between the two URLs. Here we got sort of like the keywords, the what kind of in the relevance of these keywords, like how these keywords are stacked or relevant for this page, summary of this page. Similarly, you can scroll and you can also compare your competitors. Okay, I'm having a specific landing page or a specific blog in mind, what kind of keywords they are putting out there, what kind of keywords I have. So it's a kind of drilling down again,
Yeah.
to give you a specific set of strategy, the summary, or the text that they are using on their main landing pages. You can compare product to product. You can compare URL to URL. The whole idea is trying to get into your competitors and compare yourself versus against them, because we know now who are our target audience. We know what kind of questions they might be asking, but we want to really serve a specific value, right? We want to be creating a value which is differentiating from the rest of the crowd there. So it's really really important, not in the way that how much volume or what is the keyword difficulty. That's not idea here. Idea here is really have a good human control and not over rely on these kind of databases of CPC and keyword, or this kind of metrics like what we call domain domain strength or these kind of things, but really be on the semantics and psychographics and have a real good understanding of your competitors. That's the whole idea with this. And this works, second tab also works like you start within one keyword and then you can see and compare the different information that is coming for your organic competition. So this goes into much more detail of let's say 10 positions, top 10 positions for the specific keyword. But I am using here URL to URL. In this specific setup I will use my topic, which was let's
Blockchain.
say blockchain, and then what are the top competitions coming on this, and then I'm going to deep dive into the readability, keywords, sentiments, content length for each of those top positions, and that is going to give me a lot of in-depth understanding of how my competitors are trying to do the same things which I'm trying to do. The next step here is topics. There are tools in the market, obviously, might be doing same thing like topic modeling, but the framework that I am following, or I have successfully followed it up with our clients, it's not really important what topics you now information or the topic that your competitors are targeting or what are there available in the search engine. What is most important is that you have a website and you want to really identify the different topics that are on their website, right, on your own website, and where are the gaps. So there are many thin pages where you have not written really good about blockchain. It could be your about us page, it could be your some landing page which is hiding somewhere, it's have a very thin coverage. So before we start really investing in the automations, search engine optimization, conversions, it's really important to have a relook on our website and see how different topic clusters are there on website, how we are connecting this information together, and how semantically coherent is this whole structure. So this idea is, it's not idea that we look at what others are targeting and how we should borrow that topics cluster from the search engine, right? It's not the idea here. Here idea is to fix your own problems first before you start content automation.
Right.
Because if you have recently following about the evolution of search engine algorithms, like search engine has become more like an answering machine. and not only search engine, but your users are also seeing you an in-depth authority on a specific topic that you're targeting. For example, my target audience must be looking if I have an in-depth authority and coverage on AI tools and techniques in search engine, AI content automation. And if you look for us on Quantumic Solution, you'll find that we are following this approach and we are ranking on top of some of these keywords like AI tools and techniques in SEO, AI content generator, those kind of things. We worked hard using this approach and fix all the gaps on our content, not only on our website, but also what content we are putting out through social media. So here, obviously, we are taking the website, but our website is also a representation of what we do in the social media, right?
Yeah.
So here you see an starting metric that I'm writing different topics, which are 56.49%, 49 percentage semantically coherent. Well, this I can take this score to 100%, but that means I am talking about same thing, same context everywhere on each page. So let's say United States President is Biden, but I'm talking US President Biden, the same thing, right?
Yeah.
In any can example, it can go to 100. So that's also bad. It will turn into red if you are doing 100%. If this is, let's say, 5%, 6%, that's also bad because and might be a good shop in Amsterdam selling pizza. I'm writing and optimizing my website on pizza recipe, but at the same time, I started putting article also on the dog training or the dog food or how to pet or any other things. It's kind of confusing to your users. I took very maybe very naive example, but my whole point is that you have to be somewhere in the middle between 60 to 70%, where your each topic are coherently connected with each other. And this is a metric which gives you that idea. Here you can look up to the different words cloud that is coming from your website. Here are the URLs, top URLs, which has high topic percentage coverage, the semantic topic percentage coverage. You can find some weak URLs. I have some issues here, but the whole idea is like how different URLs in the topic distribution wise you're representing them, and you can identify the weak pages on your website and start fixing them. But this is just high overview. You can also zoom into more detail into the topic clusters that you have. So here it gives sort of you visualization. Like on this website, there are 12 topic clusters. One of the biggest cluster that you see is about SEO, search, content, semantic, marketing. You can choose one of the topic and see how these different clusters are interacting with each other. It's like sort of multi-dimensional plane represented on a two-dimension screen, and these are the different topic clusters. You can interact, visualize with them, and try to understand like if they are further apart, right? So they are semantically connected, but if suppose all these topic are like 1, 2, 7, 8, they are overlapping on each other, that's also not good because you're duplicating the content. The way to see this visualization is that you have two-dimension plane and they are like in a natural way further apart from each other, but in connected way, right? And if they are too much duplicated, then you will see them overlapping to each other. If they are like really small dots and big topic in the center, that also means that you have one topic, but rest of the topics are not connected. So it's a kind of interactive visualization to help you to visualize the topics, and then so and so forth, like which are my dominant topics, topic keywords, how my different internal URLs are connected with each topic. So you can further optimize the information because you wanted to cluster the topics and the pages at one place and also the internal links. So you get quite a tool in your hand to first really also start working parallel on your website before you really do a lot of investment in the content automation. Now you can ask me like why should I need to do, I should directly jump on the content automation. Fine, but then again we are dealing with this problem of garbage in garbage out, right? So if we follow this structure, which is a bit hard, difficult, but it gives us a solid path to interact with these different tools. And I'm not necessarily saying that you have to follow one step by other step. That you can start all these exercise in parallel, right, in your team. So that's why this tool is more like position towards the team, like working together. You can add more team members, you can explore the domain, the market research, and bring it all together. Does it make sense?
Yeah, it's making sense in a minute. I'm just taking it all in. Like I said, it's very, very involved.
Mm-hmm. So let's say that we have done a good market research, we have understood our competitors, we also have some sort of understanding what kind of topics we are targeting on the website. We also got some opportunity to fix some pages which are thin, not covering good topic. But now, having done this all hard work, we are really prepared for the automation, because any kind of automation we are doing here now at this stage, we have full control on it. We have done our market research, and all the information factory that we have created, we are trying to map this information back here. And this is like work in progress. I'm not saying that 100% we are there, because we also need user data and the backend algorithms to start working. So we started like working on that, and as we have more user data, the performance will be optimized.
Yeah.
But the whole idea here is we in the backend intelligently collect all this insight and connect it back to this content automation aspect. Now you can automate content different way. You can also start with sales copywriting scripts. So we have more than 200 scripts collected from internet, which is funnel, like your growth funnel scripts, landing pages, or your headlines, or sales letters, or emails, or webinars. It's all collection from different places on the internet, put them into a structured database, and also create a specific examples. So let's say if I start with one of the headline script, I have here 10 or 11 different types of headline script. I can start with one of them. I can fill this with the pre-existing example. I push the next button. I get these. These are the inputs that I used, and these are my headlines. This was a simple example. But the important thing is here, I can also just press this button and rewrite some of them. So I just rewritten some of them in a different ways. I can do A/B test using this mechanism. It's not completely I'm trying to rewrite them in a different way, but using the same topics, keywords, we are respinning them, but still it makes sense. So then we can do the A/B test, and we can see different variations. So this is one aspect of the copywriting work with adjusting scripts. With the existing example, you can change them. You can do the A/B test because you can just rewrite them. In the backend, we are containing that glossary of market research, the glossary, the topics that we collected from the competitor analysis. And this glossary is helping us to keep our context same when we are spinning the text. You can summarize the text here. So I can take, let's say, one of the text in here, or I can also work with the URL, but let me demo both. I can generate a summary of the text I just entered. I can also work with a specific URL. So you can create summaries, or if you are dealing with large topic or a large set of text, you can create specific summaries of this. So this is useful. I think many tools are offering these kind of things. I should not go into too much detail of this. You can also rewrite the existing content. So let's say I put the same content here. You can switch on the domain specific terminology. So what does it mean? That I'm switching on the glossaries contained in the backend from the market research, from the competitor analysis. The way it works is like it preserve the knowledge that it acquired from the market research in terms of the keywords and the topics. And when you rewrite it, or when you press this button to rewrite, it is still create a text which is 86.64% similar in the context with the original text. So, and you can see here what are the different emotional words, common words, power words. You can further take these suggestions and improve your text further, because it's giving you more vocabulary that you can use and make it more powerful, right? So this is
Yeah.
good way, and you can also, just by the click of this button, you can rewrite this text like different versions, 1, 2, 3, 4 different versions. Each time you do that, it will change the original percentage, like it now is
Yeah,
82.66%
yeah, it was
similar.
80. Yeah,
Yeah,
odd before.
indeed. Now we come to this AI content writer. The idea here is again same, that you have a specific topic in mind, you have done the market research, and you have a specific starting point. So let's say I'm interested in this topic. So we have these different headlines or different pain points that we have identified before. So
Yeah.
here you will be able to select those one of the script, you rewrite it, and it will create a smart prompt for the outline generation for our blog. So armed with this and our main keyword, we will be able to see that right now I'm not able to show it because we are testing that part, but it will start with main headline and then a specific structure for the blog, which is highly optimized for your target audience. Why? Because we are starting and feeding it this specific prompt, which we have started, like understanding in our first step in the market research. What is the big pain point? What is big problem that I'm solving? And it will give me a big good outline. So armed with that main heading, the outline, I can start like now researching more. And again, I'm saying that our intention is not to replace here completely the human involvement, because that's where things go wrong. So we can start building the outline of the structure. So content automation, like a couple of these headlines, I will start filling up. Let's say I have pre-outline, I have got more outline, I got the paragraphs from here, and now being as a lazy content writer, I start double, or being a lazy domain expert, I start filling some of the gaps. And these are, let's say, my starting paragraphs. What I can do, I can also rewrite it a little bit, change the context. It's not going to change entirely the context, but you're not copy pasting exactly things, but you are going to rewrite it using this rewrite option. You're adding it here. So on the left hand side, we generated a specific outline for our
Yes.
blog, right? Using the prompt engineering in the open API language,
Yeah.
what we call GPT-3 guys are saying that, okay, if you have well researched your user input, if you give those input, then it can generate a specific outline. But that's where our prompt engineering or our user inputs are coming, because we did a market research. Now we have created a specific structure, so it will give us a specific structure of the blog or outline, and now we are filling that outline with the topics, with the information that we crawled from the search engine.
That's crawl detailed you got
Yeah,
there.
so this is being crawled from different sources. We also try to already integrate, like it will gives you all the paragraphs of the top sources from the Google. That's also like tools market news or tools like phrase might be doing. I don't have applied all these tools in my work, but here what we are trying to give you a research part. So you have a topic, you have generated outline based on what best fit to your target audience, pain point, desires. You have a structure. Now you are putting these blocks of the information there. You have the opportunity to rewrite them and use them here, right? And in the end, once you have a specific the structure filled up, you can also go back and further optimize and look for the topics that your competitors are also putting in here. So these are the topics that your competitors are doing, and you make sure that while you are writing, you rewrite it until you start getting a good coverage. So in the overview section here, you will see some scores are hitting here. So average score 7, we want to take it to 100, average words, images, or headers. Here you can obviously explore topics. Here, what we are trying to get into the questions from the Quora, from Reddit. Here we are trying to get the review text from, let's say, the review websites. So then you have comprehensive content and also maybe some stats and authentic references from research, that all you have at your disposal to come up with a structure that best fit to your target audience and the subject that you're trying. So this was part of the like this AI content writer. And if you see something out there in the market, this is they're focusing on this AI content writer more for the optimization for Google search. But here we are focusing on this optimization for our target audience. So that's why we are doing all this hard work of getting all the user inputs at one place, and we are going to then intelligently use as a prompt engineering later on to feed into this content process, be it a text summarization or rewriting part, or using the existing this sales copywriting that is available there over the internet. We have created a database of more than 200 scripts which almost cover all the use cases. So for us, it's an elegant way to use automations once we have derived all the information factory at one place. And basically then I turn into last part, which is search engine optimization. And it's traditionally when I see search engine optimization, it's more like having this traditional idea of meta tags, this metadata, h1 tag, h2 tag, and all this whole idea about search engine. But here it's not about these things, because I have the understanding that these sophisticated search algorithms now they can really pick up your metadata. If you forward the alt tag in the image, these search engine algorithms they can automatically fill that part. So anything that you miss nowadays is not a big problem, because the algorithms are getting sophisticated. They understand these concepts. They fill this for automatically. What work that we need to really do is on the semantic side of it. And when I say semantics, it's more about the content length, content distribution, what kind of readability aspect, readability is, reading time, content length, how you link the internal URL, your external URL, sentences, image. These are the important aspects. And now again, we started with the project, identifying our target audience, competitor strategy. We use these two things together with the topic that we identified and fixed it. We created piece of content. Now every time when we create piece of content, they will be connected with each other in a specific way, because we are drawing a lot of information from
Yeah.
market research. And now again we are coming back to our domain, because once we publish those content, we also want to make sure that we follow certain best practices. And that's where the search engine sort of optimization is coming in the later stage. Because if we don't follow the market research or content strategy, we are carrying a leaky bucket. This all traffic is losing. Maybe we can optimize one blog, we can rank it, but it's not that whole sort of domain or authority structure we can create. Authority structure only we can create when we have like deep understanding of for whom we are writing the content. So here, obviously, it goes into too much detail of different content types that we're using, sentiments, scroll depth. That means you can really try to understand like how you are making these pillar contents. What is your main pillar content? Are these orphan pages? Why they are orphan? Why they are not linked to with each other? What you can do it about it? So get some sort of visualization here, like your dense cluster topics and the internal links. So this is where I see more like use case of this tool to give you specific issues. Like these are the pages which have less than 250 words. These are the pages with less than 3 paragraphs, for example. So it gives you some actionable issues, how to solve them. In a way, you look these also in the traditional SEO tools, but here we are focusing more on the semantics side of it. Similarly, here it's also important that we optimize our pages for the mobile devices, like the performance of our website is important. The backlinks, of course, we have this section, but due to some issues in the production, it's coming soon, but it's already there. The idea of the backlink in this tool is like compare the two pages, like you have your web page and you are getting a backlink from other page. Now, using the NLP, we process the text on this page, also get the text on this page and calculate a semantic score, semantic similarity score. If this score is more than, let's say, 5 or 10, then obviously this link is acquired in more natural way. That's how Google will also understand. Google will take these two pages together, analyze it, create some score metric, and see if they are connected with each other. Maybe Google has a lot of sophisticated parameters. The starting point could be that you analyze the text, you create some kind of score, which create a connectedness between this metric, mathematical metric, right? So that's how these links are identified, and where you get zero or no score, you can basically get rid of those links because they are hurting you. They are not really naturally acquired. That's what Google also want. That's what also you also want to have things acquired in a natural way, where people are sharing, liking your content. And this is a measure here which help us to find out the and weed out the links which are not really needed. Schemas are a big time now in the search engine, that you wanted to supply with your articles, with your FAQs, product, person. We are planning to keep adding here more and more schemas. But the here idea is that you will fill some information, and some information will be mapped from the hard work that you did. And with the click of button, you can then take this information and put it in your HTML pages. And the tech insights are really important also, like how different plugins you are using, different automation tools which you are using also gives you some edge over your competitors. So if you see, it's a combination of different pillars of the marketing team might be doing, but bringing them all together in one tool and having team members working on it. That's the whole idea about this tool. And I hope starting from your market research, having this information factory filled up, it's a lot of work. But I promise you, that once you do it, it's going to reap great benefits, because then we are not dealing with this garbage in, garbage out problem.
Yeah, I mean, I've been looking for something to try and building a website at a minute for a company, small company that does beard growth kits. It's a very niche market. And we want to make sure that we get the whole website right for them. So it's not just about, I'm going to throw some adverts out on Google and then start getting you sales. Like you said, the metadata, all the schema correct. But you also want to put good articles inside of your web pages, you know, if you're doing your blogs or just optimizing whatever web page people go to. So this is an interesting tool insofar as that's concerned. My only concern at this point here is, and I'll keep going back to it, is that somebody like me, I'm quite a novice at this. I'm not really a very techie sort of person. So as I'm going along and going from the market research side, yeah, I'm reading a lot of data and stuff like that. I'm looking at things and thinking to myself, I'd like to retain information on that. So then I'll have to make notes and stuff like that. It would be better if you could just click on some of those things that you're finding, and then it's starting to build a whole note of what you want then to move on to the next stage for, what you feel is important when you come across it, that you can just record it by the click of a button. So if I read something in the very outset that I'm looking at, I'm thinking, yeah, that's interesting. I definitely think my niche is going to be up to that. Then at that point, it's kind of like grabbing that essence of that information there and sticking it into the next step for me, so that when I come to the next step after going through all of those things, then I've got a summary of what I thought was important there sitting all laid out for me already to say, right, so these are the next steps. And then you move on to one next one till you narrow it all down, because it is important, I think you're right, to identify who your target audience is, what your competitors are, what you think they're doing well in that.
Well, I just wanted to add, like, because I'm not giving you a blank slate to start. What you're getting here is a pre-filled template, which is ideally done as an in-depth exercise for one client, right?
Yeah.
And that's your starting point. So I'm sure your pain points change, your target audience completely change, but you have a reference, and you have some tools inside this tool also to get back the right research there. So it's not just like a blank thing to start and like.
I wasn't thinking that was a blank thing at all. I'm saying that when you do get the information back, because you've obviously they're pulling this information for us, it's like on the questions. the one we were going through, there was a lot of questions there. I would look at those questions and I think some of those questions are very, very relevant to me.
Right.
So what do I want to do? I want to make notes on that, but I don't want to be handwriting it down because it's time consuming and that. It's almost like I start with a blank document, but when the research starts coming back, I'm filling up that blank document with things that I think from that stage of the research is relevant to me.
Right.
So, you know, in the first essence, it might be a blank document, and then I go to the first stage of this, and out of 20 hits or whatever it's brought back to me to say these are things worth considering, I see 4 of them that I want to take through to the next stage. So automatically being able to sort of like hit those lines and then copy them to that blank document. So I'm building my documentation now that's relevant to me, and it's taking me all the way through there. As I go through there, that's relevant. I want to capture those things. I want to keep those thoughts in mind. I'll bring that through to the next stage. Okay, building on that in the next stage, what do I want? And that's how I'd like looking at that to see that working. I mean, maybe I'm getting the wrong end of the stick because I'm looking at this here. I'm seeing that you got notes there, or coming soon notes and things like that, etc.
This is my exact idea with this. I don't want to initially give the impression that we are out of control. So I want to keep this impression that we are fully controlled with this. And once we start filling the first information, second information, the things start automatic more clear to us, like as a human as well.
You're filtering them down. You're kind of started off with a very broad picture of this, the business that I'm in, and this is the niche sort of area that I want to try and attach myself to, etc. How do I get the best information to get my traffic to that niche area that I'm looking at? And this is a very good tool looking at it to sort of like do that. So you're trying to filter all the time.
Indeed.
It's just making sure that whilst you're filtering, when you do get some of the information back, that you're not just overwhelmed with a lot of good information, but you can specifically say, okay, from that information there, I want to take these 4 topics and then at least consider them further on in this process, because everything's about filtering it down. You start off with a lot, you filter down to the next one, and so on and so forth.
Yes. So definitely I have the plan. Once we collect more data, we should be able to create a mechanism to give a lot of suggestions and filter down based on specific parameters that we train the model. At the same time, I do think that we still should have full control in this starting stage.
No, I agree. I wasn't talking about the machine or the model making decisions for me in the early stages. You're looking at a lot of information from the first stage. You may be looking at a very broad picture in terms of what your business you're in. But this model is bringing back certain topics to say, have a look at these things or consider these things here. These might be interesting to you. Now, of those things that it brings back, there may be 10% of whatever it brings back I really want to try and focus on and drill down onto. I'm talking about just trying to get a mind map going on so that when I do see those 10%, that's the ones that I'm taking through to the next stage. It's not to say that I've disregarded everything else, but those things at that point when I was looking at the first stage was, these are the very, very important points to me. And just to keep them in mind, there's going to be a lot of information there potentially that I could just get lost on.
Indeed. And that's the reason in each block you have a pre-filled example and then specific thing. So then you are not lost. You're not starting from a clean slate. You are starting from specific pre-filled example that you can rewrite or choose it. And as we start collecting information in the background, we are going to train in a way where you have multiple examples. So I can start with one example with addressing to blockchain as a niche. Then I can go to content automation as a niche. So that's where we are trying to collect more data.
Okay. I wasn't sure how it was filtering.
So we have some examples already, which you can use and rewrite and repurpose, which fits obviously to your research that you would do here in terms of the pain points of your target audience and the questions that your target audience are asking. So I think I'll keep it to this level.
I think you have definitely something here in terms of a complete tool to help you from the start to the finish. A lot of these other tools are kind of like you've got something going on already, but if you want to build with the best practice in mind, then if you start with a tool like this, it's going to keep you on track to keep everything that you're doing as best practice to get your business up and running and get the best results that you can, because it's taking care of every aspect of that, not just the advertising aspect, but the research aspect, and making sure that your site is relevant.
My intention and goal here is to develop a community around it, and we share actively the use case of the tool. So that's why it's very, very important for us to be part of this community. We have created a Slack community around it, so with the tool, and everyone who work with us sort of join the community. Here we are going to discuss the use cases and very proactively guide everyone how to make best use of the tool. And while using the tool, we are going to learn from each other, like what are the different areas, and share our knowledge. And that will help us as a community to further develop this tool. So then it's like user driven tool. It is user who are actively engaging and interacting to figure out different workflows, different use cases of the tool. And that way, this is my goal and intention, to be part of this community, and not like being support or call or doing demo, but like whosoever buy the tool, they become the part of the community, and we together discuss and create smart workflows. That's also the whole idea of having Slack community around. Like OpenAPI is also doing those things. They have created very good community around it, and they are discussing the use cases. Similarly, here, idea is that we really discuss the workflows, because if you are a marketer, you might have a different workflow in mind. If you are a content writer, you might have a different workflow in mind, right? Maybe your team has already done a market research. Then what are the next steps? What we can basic minimum fill here to make this tool working? So these are the different aspects that we wanted to explore together, working together in the community and get active feedback. So I would say this is not complete, it's a work in progress. And my goal, our team's goal, is to make this user driven.
What sort of timescale have you given yourself to sort of get all of the models inside of this thing completed? Because obviously there's some things, like you said, that have not been completed yet. And obviously you're waiting for feedback and getting data and stuff like that. But do you have some sort of overview of the timescale?
Yeah, we have roadmap, collecting active feedback from the also sort of directions. It might be overwhelming sometime, but I think this structure will really help us to keep discussing, setting the priorities, not what I think important, but what we as a community think important about it, right? That's big lessons being as a part of this product development I have learned. And I was a bit frustrated with the idea that I was a product owner most of the time, but my marketing and sales was not giving me active feedback for developing the product. And this is where I want to change things, where I get the community who is exploring this from the marketing point of view, from sales point of view, and how we together provide this feedback to evolve the tool. And this is where we are creating active roadmap, trying to get feedback, prioritize it. So it's not alone what I think is important, but also how community think that is important. And then it can be a community driven tool. And that's our goal.
I was looking before on AppSumo and that, because it was like saying that one sort of code or whatever it is, you got 10,000 pages that you have in the deal and stuff like that, etc. I got no idea what 10,000 pages is in terms of practical working thing for me. I'm like I said, we're building this website. I'd look at a tool like this to work with in hand to build this website so that I'm getting everything in place. But 10,000 pages, you're talking about it going out and bringing back information from your competitors. And
these 10,000 pages are monthly set. So you start with a month, and then you go and hit some keywords, fetch some pages, some information. Each time you hit a keyword, fetch information, in the backend, it is collecting some information like how much pages are hit right? How many requests you hit to the different tools and places, and you start collecting that information, and then at the end of the month it is reset to zero and you again start. So I think, to be honest with you, there are different parameters we are still trying to fix, but the whole idea is we have controlled users of the tool.
I think the thing about it is very, very unknown, because for me, 10,000 pages doesn't mean anything to me. I don't understand, to try and go through the process that you were just going through there with a blockchain example, for argument's sake. How many pages would that exhaust? You know,
And so it's not that when you're doing one keyword and you're fetching results, it's all counted as pages. It's more like your one response from the API, backend API, is counted as one single activity, or that is a page. And we are still optimizing it, but I can assure you that this should not be considered as a limitation in your users, because also it's reset to every time to zero the next month. It's kind of recurring page limit.
yeah, no, I could see that it's a lifetime deal and it's recurring, so I can see that. Just don't know what those numbers mean to me. 10,000 pages, calls or whatever you want to call it, etc.
We can rediscuss in the community and come out with more something which make economic sense. But based on our own analysis so far, the best estimate that we could have, we have come up with these limits which will help us to still keep building the tool. And
I think one of the things that should happen for you to help the community once we get going is there should be a counter of some description there, so you understand how many calls you've had or whatever it is, because other than that, you're not going to know anything.
Indeed. So we are going to put definitely the counters, and those counters should alert you that this is where you are. So you will also have some sensible use of the tool. Accidentally pressing unlimited buttons, because everything, be either processes running behind or calling to an external API, all cost, right? And we want to be distribute this cost among our users in a fair way, and that's only way to create some metrics and counters to have an fair and judicious use of the services. Definitely, I will optimize it further, create more information around it, which is more easy to understand.
And do you have an indication of when, like, the plagiarism tool is going to be available, and is that going to be available as part of this deal, or is there something else at the back of that? Because that's important to people as well. You're going to get to the end and do all that, may create articles on it, and you're going to need to know that you're not going to fall foul of any sort of like plagiarism problems.
Indeed. So we already had like in development environment, we could not push it into production because we had more testing to be done. But I'm expecting is within 1.5 months, we will also have a score where when you create content on this overview section, you will get an additional score here, that how much this content that you have created is matching with similar other content. So you have a score, and your goal will be to minimize that score so that you're not seen as duplicating some content there. And I can tell you that the way you start with the framework, because you start with market research, competitor differentiation, some information coming in there. So let's say if you're sitting in Seattle and doing the same topic, content automation in 2021, or content automation, let's say trends in 2021, and I'm sitting here in Amsterdam with this different set of marketing agency. I have different target audience, different pain points, different competitors. Both of us will start the same topic, but we will end up in different content. Why? Because the structured input, the prompt, in to call in engineering language, or just to call this information that we are capturing, is different. You have different target audience, different pain points. I have different pain points, so the outcome will be different, and that's guaranteed by following this structure. Does it make sense?
Yeah, I was just saying that, I take your point, what you said about somebody else maybe working on the same document. I think everybody's going to want to make sure that they just don't fall foul that plagiarism thing anytime soon. So it's always good to have, you're better off keeping people on your platform as well to be able to check that plagiarism as well.
Definitely, that's a part of the roadmap, and that's our top priority, to add that kind of functionality and score and metric, so that everyone can measure how much the content is original. I'm trying to maintain from very beginning. We want to have full control on the user inputs. Don't want to follow a path where we are asking GPT-3, for example, to create full blog out of the thin air. So if you continuously do this, because this algorithm is also trained on a large corpus, and if more people are generating same kind of content, ultimately you end up in the same content. Even if in this playground of GPT-3, I generate some content, I get sometimes same content which I can really search on the web, and I get exactly same content. So AI or GPT-3 is not solving this problem of having the unique content. The quality of the content, the quality and its uniqueness will be user driven, will
Yeah.
be human controlled,
Yeah.
if that
So,
makes sense.
yeah, you're saying basically, do your research, filter first as a human being, tweak it, then feed it into the GP3
Yeah,
to
exactly.
then start generating those. I agree with that. I think that's a very good approach to have on that level. So I don't have any disagreements there at all. You just want to, I think from a user point of view, especially because I'm not, like I said, I'm not a techie at all. I just want to try. I'm not a technical person to even build websites. I've just bought a deal off AppSumo for a website builder that's quite automated. So I'm looking for an easy way out on all of these sort of things, as it were. So I don't mind doing the hard work, because I think sometimes you just got to get in there and do the hard work in terms of research and stuff like that. So as long as you've got a tool that will allow you to bring back that information to one spot, you can analyze what you want, drop in to whatever your notes are that you want to keep your focus on, etc., and then move through and fill out those areas that you've got down here. Hopefully you get a unique article at the back end of that, and you get a very optimized site as well. So, I'm looking for the full package. And when I was looking at your thing on AppSumo, I thought this was maybe something that would give me the full package. This is why I arranged the call with you. Because I
Sure.
think there's a lot of people out there that are going to be interested in having something that can give you the full package. A lot of times now we want it easy because everybody's wanting to the best use of their time, so to try and get
Yeah.
through things quickly, and especially if you don't have an understanding in that area,
Yeah.
you want something that's going to help you get through and make that do that easily. So,
Right. No, so
okay,
definitely this demo gives you a full blown explanation of the capabilities and the different aspect of the tool and how it's knit together here. And yeah, I would love to explain this to different communities, to the Sumo Link community, to different Facebook groups out there. And the main idea here is to bring all of them into one single community and then start using the tool and taking feedbacks and validations and developing it further. It's not important what I think is most important, because the tool is developed over the period of time working with actual clients.
yeah.
So I have applied this methodology with 6 or 7 cases thoroughly.
Do you have any examples of that? The clients that we can look at their
Indeed.
website and
So if you see the structure here is a lean case. Lean case is a German-based business planning tool. So it's a plan. You can forecast your revenue, your business growth model by certain set of assumptions, and this planning tool really gives you flavor of different revenue streams. So if you're SaaS business, if you're monthly recurring revenue, how you're going to project these revenues. So this the whole structure of the website, the funnel, different pieces like how it works, resources, blogs are optimized using this framework. So we have it's not that we started writing content from scratch, but all these blogs we rewritten them with a specific user goals, with the specific pain points. And if you see these some of these articles, they're really bringing a lot of traffic. If you just search tem sam som, you will see
yeah,
that in the US is ranking 1 this blog. So it's bringing a lot of traffic. Similarly, all these content, not necessarily our goal here is always to rank an article, but our goal could be also create a very in-depth authority piece of content which generate a lot of interest in the social media. So if just this article alone, like business model canvas examples, it generated more than huge thread of comments on LinkedIn, and high quality discussions was happening on this article, because it's a unique way to bring the domain knowledge and put together things in a perspective which is really appealing to the target audience. So, of course, it's not all the magic of the tool, but the framework that you follow. And
Yeah.
I'm not saying that this tool out is there going to do a magic for you, but what is going to do for you is to put you in a specific framework and
Yeah.
steps that
Yeah.
you have very structured way to the final outcome,
Yeah.
which is appealing to your target audience. So this is one example. There's a few more examples: Carbex, Quantumic Solution, our own website, a couple of more examples. I'm happy to share those things.
How many people are in your team? I mean, what's your guys sort of like? Where are you from? Where are you living in the world? Well, how many's in your team? How long have you been together?
Thank you for asking this. I'm settled in Netherlands. Originally, I'm from India, but from last 15 years, I'm settled in Netherlands. I'm fortunate to get guide and work with some brilliant people in the industry, financial industry, or the workplace. I have mentor. I have some business advisor who really is a friend and advice, like inspiring me. My background is more product development, but I have people with technology background, or people with more business background,
Yeah.
or friend who can connect me with the group of the investment people with different connections. So, and these are the people who are working in the team, as a team, with being as product engineer or software engineer or natural language processing NLP engineer, full stack. I have team which helping with me on the content development, also managing the community. So it's not alone. I'm running the show. We have a
Yeah.
team, and
Oh,
this
good.
team is capable of delivering because they have varied experience in from technology to different domains, and these are quite brilliant people who know what they are doing, I would say.
Okay. It looks good.
So
Yeah. Yeah. It looks good.
thanks again for this call. I'm also making an in-depth video, taking more use cases, more workflows, myself thinking from a point of view of marketer or a content writer, or from founder also. You can think of tech founder to non-technical founder like Roser. I'll keep this in mind, and
Yeah.
how to bring their value and the use cases to the community. That will be my goal in coming days.
Okay.
It will be
Okay.
my pleasure.
Thank you very,
I
very
look
much for your
I
time,
look
Harish.
forward to talk to you. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so
Bye
much.
bye.
Bye
Bye
bye.
bye. Bye.
Bye.